Can you tell me what's the difference between this query and this? Let's talk about this in more detail and how you can bring your SQL skills from this level to that level. As a bonus, I am sure it will help to show your SQL skills during any SQL coding interview when applying for data scientist or data engineer positions. Hello everyone and welcome back. This is our first video in the SQL Style Guide series. I'm planning to dive really deep with you to show what separates junior and senior data scientists. If you don't know me, I am Ruslan Brilenkov, a senior data scientist working in Canada, and on my channel I talk about data science, technology, as well as my experience of immigrating and life in Canada. Today we are diving into the 3 key concepts that will transform the way how you approach SQL queries, especially when working in teams. You might be wondering, why should I care about SQL style best practices, right? Well, in general, data science is about working with others, and SQL often is not an exception. A SQL style guide isn't just about making your code look pretty. It's about establishing a foundation for clear communication, collaboration, and maintainability in the world of data. Remember, it takes much longer to read SQL query than to write it. In my experience, when you are collaborating with others, clarity is essential. A well-defined SQL style guide ensures that all team members write the code in a consistent and readable manner, helping with understanding, reduction of errors, and simplifying future modifications. Things like standardizing formatting, naming conventions, as well as query structure. Let's kick off with the first pillar, which is consistency. When you work in teams, it's crucial that everyone follows the same coding style. This means using the same naming conventions for tables and columns, consistent indentation, and uniform use of keywords. And believe me, when you're working with 1000-line queries, the formatting is really important. Consistent indentation, spacing, and line breaks all make code easier to read and understand, especially for complex queries like that. So the visual clarity helps to quickly identify the blocks of code and their relationship. Next is naming conventions, which are equally important. Clear and consistent naming of tables, columns, and variables is crucial. Descriptive names like customer order date instead of generic date reduce ambiguity and make your code self-documenting. Finally, enforcing the standard structure for queries, including the aliases, subqueries, and proper join clauses consistently. All of this makes your query easier to read and troubleshoot. And remember, we're talking about a couple of 100 to 1000 lines of queries. Next pillar is readability. However simple it sounds, it goes hand in hand with consistency, but focuses more on how easily others can understand your query. Adding meaningful comments to your SQL codes make huge difference. They act like road signs, guiding your collaborators through the logic of your code. And I cannot stress out about the importance of good comments, explaining the intent and the logic behind, especially behind the complex segments. It will all help others, as well as, believe me, future you as well, come back to the code and understand its logic. Next is code organization and avoiding redundancy. Dividing complex queries into smaller modular units with clear separation of concerns all helps with readability and maintainability. As for the code redundancy, honestly, repetitive code is the breeding ground for errors. I would strongly encourage everyone to use functions, subqueries, temporary tables, common table expressions, or CTEs to improve the code clarity and reduce redundancy. By the way, if you are interested in learning more about functions and stored procedures in SQL, I have a video explaining them step by step, so check it out. Finally, the third pillar is collaboration. In general, data science is about working with others, and SQL often is not an exception. As we know, effective collaboration depends on clear communication. So the consistent style guide ensures that everyone on your team uses the same language and conventions, reducing misunderstanding and improving collaboration. Things like code reviews and onboarding of new team members help to establish a common framework for evaluating code quality, identifying potential issues, and ensuring consistency in code between existing and new team members. Following SQL Style best practices, such as consistency, readability, and collaboration, is essential for effective teamwork. By adopting these principles, you will not only improve your own coding skills, but enhance the productivity of your team overall. As a bonus, I am sure it will help to show your SQL skills during any SQL coding interview when applying for data scientist or data engineer positions. Thank you for joining me in the introduction to SQL Style best practices. In the next video, we will dive deeper into each of these concepts with real-world examples and tips. For now, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay updated when I post new videos. Success in your journey, and see you next time!